Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us tonight. This very special digital show that we are bringing to you right now. I'm Brendan Clark. Thanks
for being with us. I'm Sophia Desasor in for Carolyn Murray, and we are your local election headquarters. Breaking news to bring to you. The primary race for the Senate seat has been called for incumbent Lindsey Graham against three other candidates. He'll face Jamie Harrison in the fall. This and lots more news to cover. Polls are now closed for ballots are being counted in a set of heated primary races. And while this is not the final say in the races, it is a moment for voters to express their top choices and select party nominees to the race to November.
So we are following all of these results as they come in. We have team coverage of the key races, including that U.S. Senate seat, which is currently being held by Lindsey Graham. He has been called the winner just minutes ago. The Republican nomination for the District 1 congressional seat, state house races, and many more local races here in South Carolina. Now we want to take a look at some of the races and some of the early results that have just started to come in. And this starts with the race for the Republican nominee for the congressional District 1 seat. Want to take a look at the results here as you see them right now. Nancy Mace, a sizable lead. Right now, with the precincts reporting, she has 67% of the vote, apparently getting a lot of those votes absentee, over 3,600 votes right now over her big competitor, Kathy Landing, who's in at 21% with just over 1,100 votes.
And here's the ballot count so far for the Dorchester County Sheriff's race, where Elsie Knight is defending the seat held since 2009. It looks like right now Elsie Knight has 66% with a little over 1,000 votes against Mike Turner, his competitor.
And we are following the race for the Colleton County Sheriff. 9 people in total running for this race. You can see we don't have any results in right now, but as I told you, we are getting results to come in little by little, and we'll continue to update you not only online but on air as well a little later tonight.
And there were 4 candidates running for the nomination for incumbent Senator Lindsey Graham's seat, including Senator Graham. We already know the Associated Press has called the race for Senator Lindsey Graham. You see the numbers there. He has a 77% lead. Again, that has been called. The winner will face Democrat Jamie Harrison this coming November. It looks like we are going to head to Shem Creek, I believe, in Mount Pleasant. That's where we find News 2's Taylor Murray. She is at a campaign party for Nancy Mace. There we see Taylor. Taylor, tell us what's going on this evening.
Hi, Sophia. Good evening. Well, I've clearly been here all evening at Nancy Mace's campaign party. Pretty exciting. It's a watch party, and there's a huge crowd here. How does it feel, Nancy?
It feels great. We've got hundreds of people here tonight. As you can see, here to watch the election results, and all this hard work over the last year is finally paying off.
Already, absentee voting is showing you have the advantage, as well as in Mount Pleasant. How does that feel?
It feels great. I've worked very hard. I'm a state lawmaker, a businesswoman. I grew up here in the Low Country, and I'm raising my family here, and I work here, and this is the Low Country, and so I hope that I can best represent all of the 1st Congressional District.
Of course. Let's talk a little bit about your platform. Obviously, you are hoping to flip the 1st Congressional District back towards the Republican Party. So, and as a woman doing that, how does it feel in that moment?
Yeah, well, right now, we've had 100 years since women had the right to vote, and the state of South Carolina has actually never had a Republican woman elected to Congress. So it has the prospect of being very historic for our state in November. But economic policy right now with COVID-19, that's a huge one. And also our health care policy, because what COVID-19 showed us is so many ripples and so many issues that we have in our health care system. But also we've got to talk about criminal justice reform, prison reform. With everything going on with seeing George Floyd and what that's doing to our country, we really got to come together and unite right now.
If you secure the spot on the ticket for November tonight, are you ready for the race that's going to that's to come to unseat Democratic House incumbent, Joe Cunningham?
Yeah, 100%. No one's going to work harder than I will. And we saw recently, a few weeks ago, in other states like Wisconsin and even California, where Republicans flipped districts back from Democrat to Republican and blue seats that were won in 2018, and that's exactly what we're going to do here in November.
Well, I know your campaign, all of your supporters here are hoping for good news tonight. We will be here covering it live. For now, I'm Taylor Murray reporting at Saltwater Cowboys. Back to you.
All right, Taylor Murray with the Nancy Mace. Now, Kathy Landing, councilwoman, also running for that seat. Hannah Powers continues our live coverage. She's at candidate Kathy Landing's watch party tonight. Kathy, you with Kathy Landing right now, Hannah?
That's right, Brendan. We're at the Kathy Landing watch party, and yes, I am joined by Kathy Landing, and she actually just got here from Mount Pleasant Town Council, where she works a lot on economic development. Tell me more about what you do on Town Council.
Oh, well, thank you so much for asking. Town Council, I actually serve on 6 committees, and I chair the Economic Development Committee, and one of the main things we do is work hard to try to bring jobs to Mount Pleasant. We try to bring jobs here that will pay our people more, so our young people won't have to cross the bridge all the time for jobs, and our older folks too, but also so that people can afford to live here. It's such a beautiful community that prices go up fairly quickly, and so the other thing we've done is we've worked hard to keep businesses here. There was a history of like starting here and then going somewhere else, and we've tried to change that so people know that this is a great place to stay and build your business. So I'm also on the Finance Committee, Public Services, which deals a lot with our flooding issues and drainage, and also things like our Fire Committee, HR, and transportation, one of the things that we worry about the most around here.
Thank you. So that's a lot of the work that you've been doing in the Low Country, but now you're also looking towards the future, obviously. Tell me more about how you think today went.
Well, today was a great day. I started out early in the morning, 7 o'clock, when the polls opened at Cane Bay, up in elementary, up in the Dorchester County area, and had a great time visiting all different areas. Hit Hanahan, we went to Daniel Island. Yesterday we spent the whole day in Beaufort visiting folks there, and then we actually went over to James Island and had a great time there, and it was really fun to see people, and it's funny to have people say, hey, I know you from TV, and you know, because in council races you don't do TV ads, whereas you have to for Congress. So, but we feel super about things. The momentum has been very, very high for the last several weeks. People are finally realizing, hey, we do need a financial planner in Congress. There's not a single person that has my kind of background, both economic strong as well as financial and budgeting, and we need someone that knows how to do that. We've got 60% lawyers, and sorry, Joe Cunningham, we've got enough lawyers. We need someone that knows how to do other things.
And talking more a little bit about your campaign and making those visits today, obviously you're also running on values, things that you pride yourself in, being a mother, being a wife, those sorts of things. Do you feel like voters are connecting with that message as well?
Yes, I think they really are. I think we have a community that is still very traditional in many ways, in the sense that families are important. People want to make sure and individuals too, want to make sure they're secure, want to make sure we have jobs, want to make sure we have the right infrastructure, and so we need people that understand how to solve problems, and not always doing it with a whole bunch of money from taxpayers. And that's one of the things I've worked very hard on council. We've never raised taxes. We've worked very, very hard to keep them down, and at the same time we have a AAA rating and we provide excellent service. I believe we can do the same thing in our country. We've got to get a balanced budget. We've got to plan for things. So when something like a coronavirus or a pandemic happens, we should already have a rainy day fund set aside to deal with that. We should not be scrambling at the last minute to try to figure out what to do.
Great. Well, thank you. And yes, this is Kathy Landing. We're here at her official watch party, and Mount Pleasant obviously will have our eyes on the results tonight. But for now, back to you in the studio.
All right, Hannah, thank you. So we want to talk with a political expert about these races as we continue to get results rolling in. We're joined by John Brazzini with more insights. John, appreciate you spending the night with us here to take a look at these the primaries as they come in. Two big stories right now, I think. U.S. Senator Lindsey Graham winning handily. The results started coming in around 7:30. They called it about 7:45, so it was that quick. Something you would expect?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Lindsey Graham's been there a long time.
Sure.
He's got a very loyal base in the Republican Party. That'll be an interesting race to watch as he takes on Jamie Harrison here in November.
Yeah, that's real competition he's got with Jamie. So between now and November, some real campaigning to do.
Absolutely. Jamie's going to be well funded. He's well organized. Senator Graham will be well funded, well organized. We'll see how his relationship to President Trump plays out.
Right.
As campaigns begin to evolve and the narrative nationally begins to change, we'll see how much of an effect that has actually on South Carolina voters.
Yeah, definitely going to be an interesting summer and fall for sure. Now let's talk about the two people we just heard from, Kathy Landing, Nancy Mace. A lot of people expected maybe a runoff here because Nancy maybe needed 50% to avoid it. She's higher than that right now. A lot of results yet to come in, but would you be surprised if this doesn't go to a runoff?
No, probably not.
Yeah.
Again, sometimes if we look at these larger competitions that get a lot of attention from outside media, sometimes those have a tendency to sway elections one way or another. It is still very early. Macy's got a commanding lead with absentee ballots, almost 3-1 probably. Can Kathy Landing make that up when it comes down to folks actually showing up to vote in person? We'll see.
You talked about the Team Trump a little bit with Lindsey Graham there. All 64 of the candidates President Trump has endorsed in the 2020 cycle have won their races. Both Kathy Landing and Nancy Mace have really tried to say, I'm the Trump person here. It's really trying to get his side with them.
Absolutely. See, and if you look at how campaigns are run in the primary, you're appealing to the base. So, Donald Trump remains popular among Republican voters. They want to reach out to them. It'll be interesting to see how the narrative shift, no matter who the nominee is, going to November, and what type of campaign strategy they run from there.
How much does outside spending have a deal on this? I think Club for Growth Super PAC has spent nearly $700,000 on Nancy Mace. How big a deal is this so-called dark money coming in?
Oh, I think more of it. We're going to see more of it come. Yeah. Absolutely. Nancy Mace is interesting. She's widely viewed as being the Beltway preferred candidate, meaning the folks from D.C. Kathy Landing definitely has more local support. We're going to see a lot more D.C. money come in. We'll probably see some really creative ads from L.A., New York. Some of these bigger firms are going to start to take some of that money to try to influence voters here in the 1st Congressional District. We
have a lot of unrest. We also have a pandemic in this country. What kind of impacts do you think we're seeing on that? I know we've seen so many more absentee voting, and that's really helped Nancy Mace, by the way. But what kind of impact will that have, especially the unrest? This is really a divided country right now.
And it is. And if you hear one of the biggest things that folks are calling for, and that's get out and vote. Yeah. Vote. Take your civic duty seriously. Do research on the candidates. Make it to the ballot box, or vote absentee. Regardless, make your voice heard. COVID is interesting. That certainly is fueling more of the absentee ballots. Interestingly, today, if you did vote in person, you were actually given a cotton swab. You use that to cast your vote. We had social distancing in place. There were some long lines I'm hearing from West Ashley High School. Even Rob Fowler earlier today said he voted around noon. It was about a 45-minute wait at Bell Hall. So a lot of factors here trying to work through, again, leading up to November.
A lot more results are still coming in. Any other things we really should be looking at with importance as we're looking at tonight?
Well, certainly, again, keep your eye on the 1st Congressional District.
Sure.
That will be a very interesting matchup, again, no matter whether it's Kathy Landing, Nancy Mace. I don't know if the other gentlemen, based on the results we're seeing right now, if they've got a fighting chance. So it's probably either going to be Landing or Mace against Cunningham in November.
In Washington, this is one district they're really looking to turn back to the GOP, to the Republican Party, after Cunningham took it.
This is one Democrats really want to hold on to, and this is one that Republicans really want back.
All right, everyone's watching around the country, not just South Carolina.
You're right.
John Brzezini, our political expert, he will be here all throughout the night. The CW at 10 o'clock, also News 2 at 11, as we get more results in. John, appreciate you.
Thank you.
Spending some time with us. All right, now polls across Charleston County, they have been closed for just over an hour now, and now votes, as you've seen, starting to arrive at Charleston County election headquarters in North Charleston. That's where we find News 2's Riley Benson. And Riley, voters experienced a few changes at the polls today, but good turnout.
Brennan, that's right. And if you voted in person at your polling location today, you might have noticed a few changes or differences like you mentioned, the most obvious being strict social distancing guidelines. Also, if you did vote in person, you might have noticed shorter times or shorter waits to vote. That's no indication of voter turnout here in Charleston County today. And as of this afternoon, Charleston County officials tell me they had already surpassed absentee ballots from years prior, including the total voter turnout from both in-person and absentee ballots in 2016. Joe Debney, the director of elections for Charleston County, says more than 21,000 absentee ballots have been returned by voters in inside precincts. One voter told me he felt safe voting in person with those strict social distancing guidelines.
Oh, I feel it's fine. I feel it's fine. I think everybody took all the safety measures they had to take, did the things they were supposed to do to make sure that everybody was, let's say, accommodated or taken care of at the same time. So I think everything was good.
An update out of Colleton County, a polling location, a precinct had to be closed after a COVID-19 positive voter actually went in and tried to vote. Obviously that precinct had to be closed down, Brendan, for sanitation purposes. Live in North Charleston, Riley Benson, Count on 2.
Thank you, Rylan. We are about done. We have everything you need to know about these elections on our website. That's counton2.com. If you're interested on keeping up to date with this election, just click on your local election headquarters.
Also, be sure to follow us on both social media. Download our app for results as they come in throughout the night. We want to thank you all for joining us. We will be back with more results all night on air and online. And for full reports on News 2 at 10 on the CW and on News 2 at 11 on NBC. Have a great night.